Hello friends, welcome to another video tutorial with Can the Elucidator, and today we are just continuing on what we last started, which is electrophoresis. So if you haven't yet watched the introduction to electrophoresis, please visit that video, watch it so that you understand the basic concepts of electrophoresis. And in that previous video, we looked at DNA gel electrophoresis and SDS page electrophoresis. So in this video, we are going to look at four more types of electrophoresis, electrophoretic separations, which are native protein electrophoresis, gradient page, isoelectric focusing, and 2D gel electrophoresis. But I am not limiting anyone to say that those are the only types of electrophoresis, because there are so many types, and at your own free time you can Google them and get the basic concepts on them. But in this video, we are going to focus on the four types I've mentioned. So let us start with native protein electrophoresis. So to understand this native protein electrophoresis, then we would have to at least remember a few things on SDS page. Why is it so? It is because SDS page also involves the separation of proteins. So that's why we will look at that a bit. So if you remember, just in a nutshell, we said when SDS is added to proteins which are originally in 3D conformation, or they are folded, when SDS page is added, the proteins are denatured. How? By unfolding, the process of unfolding. SDS unfolds the folded protein. That's one function. So unfolding is one function. Then the other function of SDS, sodium dodecyl sulfate, is to give the proteins a net negative charge. So the separation in SDS is only based on size and not charge, because all the protein molecules in that component which SDS has been added to will have the same net charge, and it will be negative. So that's that. And the gel used in SDS is polyacrylamide. It's polyacrylamide gel. Then let us now look at native electrophoresis. So the native electrophoresis or protein electrophoresis can be understood from just the word native itself. The word native means original. That's what native means. So which simply means that proteins in this type of electrophoretic separation are separated in their original form, which is 3D conformation. Two is that they keep their shape. Yes, they're folded, and they are not denatured. Nothing is added to them for their denaturation. So they are biologically or catalytically active. The proteins are biologically or catalytically active, and they keep their shape. Yes. Three is that unlike SDS, in which the proteins will have a net negative charge when SDS is added to them, in native protein electrophoresis, the proteins will maintain their amphoteric charges, or their amphotericness. if there's such a word. So which means some other proteins will be positively charged, some others will be negatively charged, then others will be more positively charged than others, and others will be more negatively charged than others. They keep their original charges. Yes. So in this type of separation, now separation is not entirely based on size alone, but charge plays a role, size itself, and one other thing which is we can summarize this and say it is the charge density. Now depending on what gel you are using, but in this native protein electrophoresis, the gel used is agarose. Agarose is the gel used. And if you remember, we said polyacrylamide is special because the pore size is able to be manipulated, but it is completely different with agarose. Agarose, mostly when it is made, when it is polymerized, what happens is that the pore size, it has large pore sizes. So separation will not entirely be based on size. Why? Because there will be no molecular sieving. That molecular sieving effectiveness is not there, since even large molecules will pass through, smaller molecules will pass through because of the largeness of the pores of the agarose gel. So the separation will be mostly entirely based on charge density, the charge density, and this makes native protein electrophoresis a very ineffective type of electrophoresis. Why? Because in a situation where proteins have the same molecular weight, then separation will be the same molecular weight and the same charge density. Then separation will be, the resolution will be slightly difficult. We will have difficulties in acquiring a full separation or an effective separated molecules. Why? Because due to the large pore size of agarose, almost each and every molecule which differs in size, either large or small, will just pass through the pores. And again, if they have the same charge density, then it will be hard to separate such molecules. So native page is a bit less effective, but the advantage is that when it is used, when it is effective, when it goes through, it has an advantage compared to SDS page. Why? Because the proteins will still be biologically active and they can be acquired after being separated and used. But in SDS page, since the proteins are denatured, there is pretty much nothing there to look at or to use. So SDS page entirely based on separation, but native protein electrophoresis can be used to just look at characteristics and everything of enzymes, which are proteins, and hence after the separation technique, they can be reused because they are still biologically active. One other disadvantage of using agarose gel as the separation medium in native protein electrophoresis is that there is a certain phenomenon which comes up or which manifests itself, and it is called electroendosmosis. And this usually happens due to slow moving protein molecules being forced to migrate to the wrong end of the electrode. Uh, as we all know, we mostly require, if a protein molecule has a net positive charge, when an electric field is applied, we expect it to migrate to the negative electrode. And when it is negatively charged, we expect it to migrate to the positive electrode. But in the case of electroendosmosis, we sometimes encounter proteins which have a net negative charge. They have a net negative charge, but we find them migrating to the negatively charged electrode. And this is due to impurities which are found in the agarose gel that tend to form a partial cloud that has positive charges. It has positive charges. So when an electric field is applied to that electrophoretic buffer, the partial cloud which has positive charges will start migrating to the negative electrode, and hence if it encounters any slow moving protein molecules, regardless of the charge that they have, they will be dragged to the negative electrode together with that partial cloud. But this electroendosmosis can be fixed by using purified agarose gel. If you use purified agarose gel, this phenomenon or this problem can be fixed. And another solution to this is that we can use, instead of using agarose gel, we can use polyacrylamide gel. If we use polyacrylamide, then this problem can be fixed. So that's that on native protein electrophoresis. Basic concepts is that separation takes place, separation of protein is done in their original form. 3D they maintain their 3D conformation, hence maintaining their catalytic functions because they're not denatured, unlike in SDS page. And separation again on charge concept is that they keep their normal charge, their amphoteric charge. So other proteins will be negatively charged, some will be positively charged, some will be more positive, some will be negative, and when an electric field is applied to them, you expect proteins which are negatively charged to migrate to the positively charged anodes. And based on their charge, if they are more charged, then the separation will be quick, or the migration will be quick. If they're less charged than the others, the migration will be a little bit slower. And we've looked at the concept of electroendosmosis, which is just a phenomenon where we get proteins migrating to the wrong end of the electrode. A negatively charged protein, which is slow moving, migrating to the negatively charged electrode, and something like that is not supposed to happen under normal circumstances. And this is because of the partial cloud that is formed in the impurified agarose gel that tends to drag the slow moving proteins together with it to the wrong end of the electrode. And we've looked at how we can fix it is by using either polyacrylamide gel or using purified agarose gel, which does not, when an electric field is applied, does not manifest that partial cloud I talked about.